So the first thing to start off, I just got back this morning and went to the local convenience store, and it's run by an Indian family. And the reason that matters is because as I was in there, they're always playing just like really weird, pop radio stuff. And this morning, it was a song about a small town. I didn't know it was John Cougar Mellencamp's song, Small Town, until I came home and I did a Google search for it. But the weird thing is, I was sitting there listening to the song, and he's talking about how, he could be himself in this small town, and it's only in this small town that people let him be just what he wants to be. And so a few things kind of like popped in my head. One was that it was kind of like I was thinking about the people that run the store. I don't know if that necessarily holds true for them, because I could see the usual. They still have the old, proud to be American signs, and, the equivalent of saying, we hate terrorists, that all had to pop up in different communities, like after 9/11, to reassure people that just because they weren't necessarily, Polish or Irish or whatever, that they weren't Al-Qaeda members, in fact.
Uh-huh.
But moreover, I was just thinking about like how completely stupid and banal the lyrics were, and how for most people, I mean, especially if I can think of, depending, it might be if maybe they're homosexual, maybe they were into some kind of subculture or something, but from all the people I know that would fit that bill, they definitely didn't feel like they could be themselves in small towns, and it was only in, larger cities where there wasn't necessarily a single dominant way of life. And where am I going with this? Other than the fact is just like, I started thinking about how, for the most part, I can't stand listening to pop music or most music in general with lyrics, because while when I was younger, it just didn't matter. It could be the stupidest thing in the world, and you still listen to it. After some time, I just started realizing that, like, the only reason people were drinking Bacardi is because it rhymes with party, or like the only reason they were mad was because they weren't glad. They couldn't be some like indeterminate state in between.
Right.
So,
well, for one thing, a lot of the times the lyrics don't really matter. I often like a song a lot before I actually realize what it is I'm singing. And I remember that way back in the 70s, I really liked, I'm going to admit this in public, I really liked the Bee Gees' More Than a Woman, except that I always thought they were singing Banana Woman. But it didn't matter to me, so I was just walking around school going, Banana Woman, Banana Woman. So,
you realize how gross, you realize what that means, right?
Yeah, totally. That's what's so awesome about it. Yeah, what did I...
You're seeing the equivalent of tranny surprise in middle school. Or high
I pretty
school,
much was.
Or college,
yeah,
whatever.
I beat the crying game by like 10 years. The other thing about that John Cougar Mellencamp song, I totally agree with you, Sean, and I think the thing there is, like, he's just writing a song about, it's basically like by rednecks, for rednecks, sort of. He's not, like, celebrating that he can be an individual. It's just like, it's sort of this, like, anti-city, anti-intellectual kind of thing. Like, in the small town, we're keeping it real,
Right.
Basically, this is a song about how he hates Jews, I think is what I'm...
That and the fact that it's like, what I take it to mean is that in the small town, he's part of sort of the cultural majority, which means he can be himself because he's part of that cultural majority. But then when he leaves that environment, then he doesn't feel as though he can be himself because
he can be himself, which is like everybody else in the town.
I think you guys are thinking about it way more than he ever did.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I think that most people, most songwriters just don't think about their lyrics very much. And I think for the most part, the reason that lyrics suck is because when you sing something, it gives the listener the sense that it's true, even when it's not. Like, I think music gives anything that you say some amount of authority, even if what you're saying is totally fucking stupid.
Exactly. It gives it emotional authority, especially.
Well,
yeah.
Sean, did you read the lyrics?
I just started looking at them, and to the point that I began to barf, and I stopped at and people let me be just what I want to be. But I see the whole, like, there's some awesome lines in there about the Bible Belt's coming to soothe your soul. Actually,
that's from Jack and Diane. Little ditty. Another classic John Cougar Mellencamp tune.
Taught the fear of Jesus in a small town. Yeah, there's some other lines like that.
Yeah, I mean...
You really only... Go ahead.
I mean, I don't think the lyrics are quite as bad as all that, really. I mean, it's just... I think it's... they might be a little banal, but, I think they sort of get at the I think what he's trying to get at is the complicated feelings he's got about the small town. Like, it's sort of a love-hate thing. I mean, he talks about how, my job is so small town, provides little opportunity. He talks about the fear of Jesus, but then he talks about how he can't forget where it is he comes from and the people who love him. I mean, it's not deep, but I think a lot of songs, if you really try to parse them, aren't deep. It's just sort of the emotional sort of sense that comes when you have the various musical elements and the lyrics come together.
Right. And it does make sense. Like, I went to high school in Lakeside, California, which has changed, but at the time, they didn't have, I mean, it was really, really small town. And the whole thing was like, you can take the boy out of Lakeside, but you can't take Lakeside out of the boy, and that would pretty much surface any time you'd see a friend 10 years later driving a lifted Toyota or something.
I mean, I feel like at least John Mellencamp is trying to mean something, which is better than, say, like 90% of today's sort of rock music. I mean, I fucking hate John.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think I'd rather someone just like blatantly go for nonsense than try to be meaningful in a banal way.
I can't stand it. Like, have you guys ever heard that song by the band The Killers called "Human"? And the chorus is "Are we human or are we dancers?" Which is really
why is that mutually exclusive?
I don't know, but the whole song is complete nonsense, and I would rather someone just not bother with lyrics. Like, if you're gonna sing nonsense, then like do me a favor and come up with your own little nonsense language, like Sigur Rós or something, so I don't have to listen to your horrible writing. But I would prefer someone at least try to mean something when they write a song, because I'm just tired of the total nonsense thing.
But
maybe they are trying to mean something there.
I don't think
just haven't parsed that particular song out.
I don't think so. Look it up.
Well, I think from what I understand about how a lot of pop music in particular gets made is that the music is created first, and then the lyrics come afterwards. And that doesn't mean that you can't have meaning in it, but
a classic example of that, guy, is actually Paul McCartney's "Yesterday." You guys know what that was originally called?
It was like eggs. Well,
scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs. I like to eat them in my bed today.
Good.
I don't know.
Okay, Jeff, it's going nowhere. I don't want to hear that anymore.
No, but
Okay, and guy, were you about to say something else on it?
Yeah, to what Jeff was saying though is like sort of the experience you have when you don't know what the lyrics are, or in this day and age, actually, when you might be hearing the TV edit, the MTV edit, or the radio edit, and not the actual lyrics. And so that happened to me. I guess this would have been back in 03 or 04, when the song "Get Low" by Lil Jon and the East Side Boys came out. Mm-hmm. So the real lyrics are pretty disgusting, but I was only seeing the video on MTV. I wasn't even listening to radio at the time. I didn't own the song or anything like that, so I had no idea. And so they kind of cleaned up the lyrics pretty significantly. So then it's January, and I'm at the Super Bowl in Houston at a party, and it's a late night club kind of situation. The song comes on, and everyone like rushes the floor. And for the first time, I'm hearing the actual lyrics in the song. I'm like, oh shit, that's what he's saying. My mind was blown. Not necessarily in a good way.
It sounds a bit like go on, Robert.
Sorry, I was just going to say it's sort of like the shock of when you play a song that you like in Rock Band, or sing a song in karaoke that you like, and you see the words scrolling across the screen, and you suddenly realize like how fucking horrible this song that you really like is when you know all the lyrics.
It happens all the time. It's like the first time.
Actually, I have a response to Robert's comment about the song "Human" from the band itself, from the songwriter. He has a direct response, because I looked it up on Wikipedia just now, and there's an actual section in the wiki entry about that song called "Lyrical Confusion." and it says, I'll skip the first part, but anyway, it says, this is in response to Robert, it says, on the band's official website, the biography section states that Flowers, that's the songwriter, is singing, quote, "Are we human or are we dancer?" Singular. And also says that the lyrics were inspired by a disparaging comment made by Hunter S. Thompson. In an interview with Rolling Stone, Flowers said that he was irritated over confusion about the lyric, and also he was irritated that fans were unhappy with the song's dance beat. Quote, "It's supposed to be a dance song. The beat goes with the chorus. If you can't put that together, you're an idiot."
Well, I realized it was a fucking disco song, but
Right. But there you go. It's not that the lyrics are bad, it's that you're an idiot, Robert.
I see. I didn't realize that this stupid disco song was a Hunter S. Thompson reference, but
Which makes it good.
yeah, that makes it awesome.
It's layered.